Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tag's Metal Reviews, and today it's finally time for us to give you guys our top 5 albums of 2021, and we're just gonna kick it off right now with our number 5s. So I guess I'll explain first that my number 5 is an album that I was not expecting to enjoy as much as I did. I think it's one of the most creative and fun albums I've heard in a long time. And the album really has a refined melodic sensibility that really makes it a cut above the rest.
Nice. I see what you did there. So my number 5, it's an album that we reviewed earlier in the year. It actually got a toe tag from me, but not from TV Fish. And whenever that happens, it kind of makes me question. I think we both go through this question of how we rated it. But as the months went on, I listened to it from time to time, especially when doing this video here, I felt even more and more confident with each listen that I made the right choice in giving it a toe tag. I think tonally it really hits the mark. The vocals are very strong. The guitar work is very entertaining. And it contains one of the coolest cover songs of the year. So our number 5 albums are...
Yours is...
Go ahead. Mine's Winterbane by
Frozen Crown. Mine is Welcome to Horrorwood, The Silver Scream 2 by Ice Nine Kills.
Nice.
I'm glad you noticed the little reference.
I totally
there.
know the reference, for sure. So yeah, just to put this out there too, we don't know each other's top 5s.
Yeah.
We don't discuss it. We don't plan any of it. It's just like I pick my top 5, he picks his top 5. So there's surprises for each other as well.
Yeah, like the moment you guys see us, put it out there, it's the first time we see each other.
Yeah. So yeah, we do have every year we do this. We have questions we ask each other, like favorite album art of the year, favorite song of the year, these kinds of things. So you want to get one of those out of the way?
Yeah, I guess let's talk about album art. So what is your top album art of this year? What is some of the best you've seen?
There were some pretty good ones. The new Iron Maiden album, Jutsu, that album art was sick. Trying to think. I know it's what my number 1 pick is already. Trying to think of some other ones that were cool. The Browning
had
a really cool one.
That was a great looking one.
There was a few that were really, really good, but my number 1 was Perpetual Chaos by Nervosa. That album art is so sick. It's like the black and blue with some red at the bottom. That he's like a Grim Reaper guy standing on like a mountain of skulls or something. Just really, really sick, really striking. Love the colors. There's only a couple colors, but just really eye-popping.
Yeah, that is a really good looking
sick album art. What about you?
The Browning was really cool. Like I agree with that. My number 1 though, and you already mentioned it, was Senjutsu by Iron Maiden. Just Eddie as a samurai is one of the coolest directions they've ever taken that character.
So sick.
Like he's had sick iterations over the years, but this is one of the absolute best I've seen.
Nice. All right, so on to number 4.
On to number 4.
All right, so I'll take the lead here. My number 4 album. It's an album that really exhibits a wild ride of true diversified sound. And it does this, but it still maintains a consistent vibe throughout. It draws inspiration for worldwide cultures such as Celtic, Middle Eastern. It takes elements of jazz, old Western type of music, or wild Western type of music. There's a lot of variety on this album, and it does it so well without feeling like crushed or rushed. Very well put together. It's a remarkable piece of work, and it's something that I implore everybody checks out.
It's really weird because I feel like what you just said is exactly what I would say about my number 4, but I don't think our number 4 is the same album, and that's the weird thing. I feel like there's so much inspiration in this album. You go on such a huge journey with it, and by the time you get to the end, it feels like the biggest thing ever. Like it's a big, wild ride that builds up to just a massive payoff at the end. So with that being said, our number 4 album of the year is Colors 2.
Mine was Vadak by Thy Catafalque.
You know what? That makes sense. That makes sense there. That was a great album. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Colors 2, I enjoy, but it didn't quite hit the mark for me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was thinking there's no way Colors 2 is going to be on his top 5. But I think both albums just take a lot of inspiration and really make something big out of them.
Awesome albums. Best music video of the year. This one's a pretty easy one for me, but let's hear your choice.
Well, you know what? I I think it's pretty easy to consider Baba Yaga by Slaughter to
Baba
Prevail.
Yaga.
That one is one of the most over-the-top, ridiculous, craziest music videos.
Yeah.
He wrestles a real bear.
Wrestles a bear.
And like, we thought when we reacted to that video, which was our most viewed video of the year, by the way.
Yep.
We were like, oh, is that like a animatronic bear or something? And then there's footage that one of the guys who was like with them or whatever was taking of him. It's straight up a real bear. He's wrestling a real ass bear.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you know, aside from that, because I figure you'd probably also pick the same. I thought "Fix the Error" by Between the Buried and Me had a ridiculously cool music video. It was animated, but it had all the footage of all the drum solos in it. It was such an awesome video.
Yeah, I can't not go with Baba Yaga for this. They do, you know, not only the bear, they got the tanks in there, the AKs in there. They play the Russian roulette at the end, and it's just a badass song on top of that. So
Ridiculous.
that's, for me, that was the best video of the year. Super fun, super entertaining, well done.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, number 3 album of the year. My number 3 is an album that I knew I would like a lot. You know, as soon as singles were releasing from this album, I thought, oh man, this is sounding great. I'm already kind of loving it. And then when the album came out, it just blew me away. I just thought it was incredible. I think it is a kind of album that anyone can really overall enjoy. And the fact that this is such an incredible album, I thought it was really strong, and it's not even this band's best album, really says a lot about how good this band is.
So my number 3 is probably the best album on my list in terms of lyrical creativity. It's an album that really enlightened me every time I listened to it. Kept finding new little cool things, you know, especially with the lyrics and little clever things here and there. It's not exactly the genre that I would gravitate towards as far as like my metal preferences, but it's super well written, super fun to listen to. It's packed with tons of fanfare, lots of sing-along choruses, sick riffs, just a surprising joy, and it's earned my spot at number 3. So
Number 3s are
the Silver Scream 2.
Fortitude by Gojira.
Nice.
Great album.
So yeah, sorry, you put Silver Scream at 5 or?
My Silver
Five.
Scream was number 5.
Okay, and I had it at number 3. So that's the first album that's made both our lists so far. And you know what? What was it? 2-3 years in a row we had the same number ones? Or
Literally every single year we've had the same number 1.
We got the same
For
number 1 every year.
2017, 18, 19, 20. Last 4 years that
Wow.
we've done this, we've had the same number 1. Will the trend continue?
Who knows?
It could.
Um,
It could.
Song of the Year.
Song of the Year.
Song of the Year.
You know what? It's really hard to pick this one. It's really, really hard. There are so many songs this year that I thought, oh, that's insane, that's insane, that's insane.
Yeah.
Made in Russia by Slaughter to Prevail had one of the best breakdowns I've ever heard because they kind of give you what you think is a breakdown when it's not. And then the real one just literally comes out of nowhere and blows your mind. So that one was certainly one of the best, among others. Like, there's so many crazy songs.
Yeah, for me, the songs that I highlighted were actually songs that for albums that are coming out next year. For example, like Fit for an Autopsy put out a couple bangers, Angel Maker, but the best song for me is Into Embers by Allegiant. That song blew me away. We reacted to the video. I couldn't believe it. It was just like an 8-minute long, just wild ride of awesomeness.
You even said so yourself in the video that it's like contender for Song of the Year.
Yeah, and I mean before that, like Baba Yaga was like, when I first heard that, I was like, holy shit, like this is gonna be tough to beat.
And then it was beaten.
Into Embers, I think is fucking just amazing, and I can't wait for Damn Them, which is the next album coming out.
Oh yeah.
By those guys. So yeah, Keith is right. Lots of good stuff this year, as far as albums and individual tracks. So
Alright, so our number 2 album of the year. I'll say about my number 2, this is an album that really has a lot going on, but it's kind of straightforward if you consider just what it is. I think it's a good example of, you know, kind of pushing a genre into a certain direction that I feel like more bands could follow, and there could be a lot of interesting stuff with it. I feel like it's a very emotionally vulnerable album, and at the same time it has a really harsh bite to it that gives you a really cool yin and yang. So it's very deserving of being on my top 5 for that reason.
Yeah, so similar to what you said earlier, the way you described that, it could be the same album that I'm gonna talk about. So my number 2 is basically like, it's about 49-minute long ride of brutality. It's one of the few albums of the year where every song's a banger. It's home to what I consider the hardest hitting song of the year. It contains the song that became our most watched reaction video. It became the song that became our most watched reaction video of the year, as well as just overall. 2 different songs, by the way. So yeah, TV Fish probably knows what it is by now, but my number 2 album is Costellum.
Kin by Whitechapel.
Interesting. Nice. Yeah, Costellum, best music video, hardest hitting song, Bratva. Dude, that song just pounds. And then, yeah, Demolisher is our most watched reaction video, and Baba Yaga was our most watched reaction video of the year. So, yeah, pretty interesting.
So I guess before we get to our number 1s, let's talk about honorable mentions. Some albums that were really close to making the cut, just not quite the top 5. So what kind of HMs you got?
So my HMs, I picked them all for kind of the same reason. So Senjutsu by Iron Maiden is an honorable mention for me. Violence Unimagined by Cannibal Corpse, and Torn Arteries by Carcass.
Okay.
The reason I picked these 3 is because I think that these 3 bands / albums really nail the fundamentals of their genres. All 3 of these bands are trendsetters. They are bands that have influenced a lot of the bands we listen to nowadays. Without these bands, who knows where metal would be right now. So I think they deserve honorable mentions. Maybe they're not the best albums of the year to us or to anybody, but they're all 3 very solid albums. So I feel like they deserve a mention for that. Just fundamentally, they really, really hit the mark.
Right, fair enough. My HMs, see, HMs were probably the hardest part for me out of all of them, believe it or not. When I was doing honorable mentions, I'm like, oh man, but this one's great, and there's a bunch of them that I kind of had lumped into HMs, but we could only pick 3. So the 3 that I picked were Hushed and Grim by Mastodon, In the Court of the Dragon by Trivium, and Lifeblood by Brand of Sacrifice. And it got to a point with HMs where I'm thinking, oh man, like which ones really just strike the right chord with me properly, you know? And I was shuffling out a bunch of them, but those 3 were the ones that I guess squeaked into those spots.
Cool. Well, you ready for number 1?
Number 1. Album of the year.
So you want? Yeah, you can go first.
My number 1 album of the year is an album that had a spark to it. And I find this tends to happen every year, that there's always one that has a... See, toe tag albums, they have a spark. We've said that many times on this channel. Number 1s of the year spark differently. And I feel that tends to happen on this channel, where like an album will come out and it's like, oh, that one's a serious contender for number 1. And that's how I felt with this album. One of the most vicious, angry, and brutal albums I've ever heard. It's an album that's bending a genre on top of that, so it's fresh and it's really fucking angry.
Nice. So my album of the year 2021, it's an atmospheric motherload of heavy riffs. It's got exceptional vocals, droned out mesmeric groove sections, thought-provoking lyricism, just finesse guitar solos, and some of the purest, most elegant harmonic tones you'll hear all year. And to be honest, it all kind of caught me by surprise. But without further ado, number 1 album of the year, Hushed and Grim by Mastodon. Dude, do not sleep on this album.
I mean, I didn't. It's one of my HMs, but
Dude,
I'm like, wow.
It is amazing. So, okay, I didn't get a chance to listen to that when it came out. We didn't get a chance to review. We were doing something else that week. I can't remember what. And I saw a bunch of people saying, oh, Mastodon, blah, blah, blah. It just sounds like this. It's blah, 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 blah. And I didn't think much of it. But then while we're preparing for this video, I got to listen to all the stuff I missed. When I put that album on, I kept going, whoa, 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 whoa. And you know what? It's not their heaviest album. It's not their heaviest album by far.
It's like probably their most chilled out album.
Probably the most chilled out, but I think it's their best fucking album. I think it's their magnum opus. This is the album that really cements them as top tier fucking band. They sound so fucking good across the board. Brent does a lot less singing on this album than he did in previous albums, which I think is fine because what it allowed him to do is really focus on the guitar work, and it's exceptional on here. The solos are so fucking good. Dude, I suck at remembering song names, but there's this one song, every time I listen to the last like minute and a half or 2 minutes of this song, it reminds me of the song Tribute by Tenacious D, where they run into the devil in the world and he says, play the best song in the world or I'll eat your soul. And then they play the best song, but I can't remember how it went. I feel like if they played the last 2 minutes of this song that I can't remember the name of, it would have been a sufficient answer for the devil. And he would have been fine with it. Because Brent plays for his life. The solo he plays, he sounds like he's playing for his life. It's so nice. Bran, however you pronounce his name, sounds so fucking good in this album. Just vocally, his drums are, dude. Honestly, masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
That album, literally, I had a similar experience. Like when, you heard what I said when we first checked it out. I'm like, oh yeah, it's good, but it has, an issue here and there. And then I listened to it more, and the same thing was happening. Whoa, what the heck? This is incredible. And it's literally an album that has a single problem. It's a little too long. That's it.
Considering it's a double album.
It is a double album.
It's Hushed and Grim. It's 2 albums, but they put them together as Hushed and Grim. You know what? I considered that. It's an hour and...
It's about an hour and a half.
Hour and 26 minutes. And I went, holy shit, like I don't like long albums that much. Like that's too long for me. This did not feel long to me. And that right there was a huge testament to the quality of this album. Castellum was my number 1 album. Since it came out, Castellum was my number 1. Hard to beat. As soon as I listened to Hushed and Grim, I went, boop. And I went, can Hushed and Grim hold that spot? And it did. It held that spot for the rest of the year. And I feel... that at my number 1 is my most confident pick. Out of everything else that I've considered and ranked, that I was so surprised that album was as good as I thought.
I'm honestly shocked that not only this is the first time we've had different number 1s, but 2 that one of all albums was your number 1. Like I was really confident, thinking to myself, like, you know what? Castellum's my number 1. It's gotta be his number 1. Like, it's totally an album that we could totally agree on that. And I guess for almost the entire year, we could have agreed on that.
We could have agreed on it for most of the year, yeah, until probably like mid-November or something like that.
Yeah, that album is really good. Honestly, I think it's underrated. I think people are underrating it. Everything he said is true. I completely agree with everything he said. It is a great, awesome album.
So good.
Like I said, the only reason it didn't break my top 5 is just because I had the issue of that it's just a little too long. Honestly,
I think you could get over that if you listen to it a bit more.
Yes, I will agree on that. But like with kind of my stance right now is that if you trimmed like 2 or 3 songs, you have a perfect album.
Either way, guys, those are our top 5s. Before we go, we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to because we got 2022 around the corner.
Yeah. I mean, this year was really, really heavy in terms of releases. Tons of stuff going on. And with what's already been announced for next year, it's shaping up to be really good already.
So what are you looking forward to?
A big one for me is Animals as Leaders. I don't listen to them often, but every time I've heard like a single or whatever that they've released recently, I'm thinking, God damn, those guys are on fire.
Nice. Yeah, I already mentioned Damn Them by Allegiant, but Oh What the Future Holds by Fit for an Autopsy.
Oh, yeah.
We have not covered a Fit for an Autopsy album on this channel yet, so that's going to be a good one.
We finally will.
And also Immolation's coming out with an album, Acts of God, and we haven't covered them on the channel either, and I think they deserve a spot on the channel, so I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to that Fit for an Autopsy. Also the new Persephone coming out, Metanoia, that's a big one. And I'm also excited for the new Porcupine Tree, just because it's been 15 years since they released anything, so I'm excited to see how that's going to look.
I also got other cool stuff too, like Shadow of Intent. Corpse Grinder's got a solo album coming out, whatever that's going to sound like, who knows.
Slipknot, that's going to happen.
Slipknot's going to happen, yep. They're talking maybe springtime.
Yeah, so we can look forward to that too, already on top of what's super stacked.
Exactly.
Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for this year of metal.
Awesome.
It's been a really, really crazy stacked year, and this is the first time we've had differing number 1s.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments what are your top 5s, top 10s, top 20s of 2021. We always love to hear what you guys have to say. Remember to like this video if you liked it. Comment, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys in 2022.